Hello everybody, welcome back. So I'm just going to make this one video now on Bitcoin, and then I'll make a separate video for Matic as to not blur the lines really. So basically when we're looking at Bitcoin here on the daily, we're finding a little bit of a bounce, tiny bit of a bounce. This is what was predicted. I've put myself a long position on, not that I expect it to go very far, but it could go as far as 8,400. It could overshoot all these areas and perhaps go up to try its hardest to maybe go up to 9, who knows. I'm going to close mine a lot way before that, trust me. I've got a trading stop loss on it. But never mind, all of that just aside, my personal stuff, let's just have a look at what's actually going on. So on the daily, we've seen ourselves wicking into this blue box territory. We've seen that for a while. The first time we closed the bodily candle in there, we came down a little bit further the next day before we launched right out. Now, this moving average here, this red one that you see here, this one's extremely important. I've only just put this on because I've not really felt like we've needed it, to be honest with you, until now, where things have started to look very bearish in a bull trend, which is the thing that everyone's concerned over. Is this still a bull trend? Is this still a bull market? I would argue that it probably still is, considering that we're up about 150% for the bottom of the year, but at the same time it does raise a lot of concerns when we're getting down to this level. So this is the reason I put it on. Now, in the history of Bitcoin, the entire history of Bitcoin's never closed a candle beneath this moving average. And just so you know, this is the 242 moving average. And like I say, in the whole history of Bitcoin, it's never closed a candle beneath there. Now, just because that's never happened before doesn't mean it's never going to happen ever. Remember, Bitcoin's only 10 years old. That's not really a mature asset. That's you know, it's long enough to be able to map out certain cycles and have certain things that you can look at historically that you might be able to attribute to things going on right now. But it's still only 10 years. It's not really that old at all, to be honest with you. So it's not long by any means. So for the people who are saying it's never going to close behind here because it's never closed down there before, is a bit naive really when you look at it from that perspective. Now, Bitcoin is extremely bullish by nature. Since its conception, it's been bullish. If you look at it where it started on the Genesis block and to where it is today, it's phenomenal. It's unlike anything else anyone's ever seen in any market ever. But that doesn't mean that it's indestructible. It certainly is. There's all kinds of things in the pipeline, you know, in the long term that could just completely destroy Bitcoin. It's you know, we can all sit back and believe in Bitcoin because at the moment it's part of this new wave of blockchain technology, decentralized applications that have come out of the crypto market. You know, blockchain's great, but you know, I have a theory that in maybe 20 years we'll probably look back at Bitcoin and it'll be one of those things where we can probably sit back and maybe laugh at it in a way. It's like people using a fax machine or something like that. You know, there'll be a more superior technology that will come out that will supersede all of this, and we don't know what it is yet because we can't imagine it. I mean, the things like quantum computing and things like that are all going to come out of the woodwork at some point, like I say, in 20 years' time. And I'm not going to say that people with quantum computers are going to, you know, the first thing they'll be doing is hacking a Bitcoin. I mean, it'll certainly be something that people will be interested in doing if they have access to that technology. The people who have access to that technology are going to be mega rich anyway, so I don't see why they'll be doing that. But I mean, for instance, that is something that could quite easily just make blockchain technology completely obsolete. But that's not coming anytime soon. But let's just I've just gone off a bit of a tangent there, but basically, when we come in to look at this chart, it's all about this moving average that we're seeing here on this red one here, the 242. And we found ourselves our first bounce on there. This is the first time we've touched it in a bull market ever. This is the second time we've touched it in a bull market, and this is the third time we've touched it in a bull market ever. The way the moving averages generally work is the more you touch it, the more you sort of come down to test it, the more likely it is to inevitably break down. And if this breaks down, it's going to be the first time it's ever happened, and new territory. And where's that going to take us? It's going to take us down, definitely, and it will take us down considerably. Will it reverse all the way back to where it started from? I doubt that, to be honest with you, because it's just a moving average. You know, moving averages get broken, they turn to support, they turn to resistance, then they break and turn to support again. At the moment it's bullish still, it's relatively steep, it's not facing down, so that's a good sign. It means that we're likely to be supported on it maybe a few more times. But the way that it's going, it's going to get to a point where it can't take it anymore and it will break down. So if you watch my previous videos, I stated that we have a cross on the Ichimoku cloud. I'll just turn that on the weekly chart, which is here. That means that there should be a continuation to the down. The last time we had that, I mean, Ichimoku cloud crosses on the conversion baseline basically show a continuation from that cross, so there will be more move in that direction, and this direction is down. Also, you know, we have them on the up, so the last time we had this cross to the up was here, where the price was around about $5,000, or was it, where that was the cross there? Well, yeah, $5,000, and we continued, you know, to 14,000. The last time we had it cross to the down was around this level here, just around 12,000, 11,500, and we had a continuation all the way down here. So I put a lot of weight onto these crosses. They do generally mean that there's going to be continuation, so this would suggest there's continuation down. Doesn't tell us where it's going to go to, it just means that there will be continuation of this move. And considering where we are right now, which is around 8,000, I expect to see us come down to test this level here, which is the Ichimoku cloud itself, and maybe form a reversal from there. If we don't reverse from there, it's likely to fall all the way through the cloud and maybe back to where it began in the first place, or maybe even lower. Who knows? Like I say, the 4-year cycle theory has worked in the past, and this would, and we're in the first year of a 4-year cycle now, meaning that, you know, it should be a bullish cycle. No 4-year cycle begins at a bottom and ends lower than the bottom. That doesn't happen. In the 4-year cycle, the Bitcoin has repeated twice fully, and this would be its 3rd time. So, you know, if you hold a lot of weight onto that, and I generally do, I would be surprised to see us go lower than we were when we started, so perhaps maybe we could go down into the 5,000s perhaps. But in this cloud, at somewhere, it's a dangerous place. You don't want to be buying or selling in this cloud. You want to perhaps maybe be waiting for it to do its thing. And currently, if we were to fall down beneath this cloud at this moment in time right now, you know, it would probably reverse all the way down to the bottom. But the cloud is ending soon and it's going to turn green, which means that it's more likely to, you know, if we hang around in this territory now, that when we do fall down, which we will, it's unlikely to be as nasty as that. You know, if the move plays out in the next couple of weeks, it could be pretty nasty. If we hang around in this territory now for a little longer, ideally mid-November, we should start to see a change in pace, and if we've fallen down by there, we should start to reverse around November. I've looked at the crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, and I've said this for a few months, and you can go back and check my videos, that I do expect to see a turnaround in the alt market. At the earliest would be November, and maybe probably more likely to be December, late December to January. We'll see a true alt season at that point, see coins really pumping, just like we did at the beginning of this whole bull trend around April. And it looks likely that is likely to happen with Bitcoin too. I think altcoins will probably outperform Bitcoin in January, that sort of time period. We'll start to see a lot more pumping with those guys, and Bitcoin will be moving, but it won't be moving at the same speed, and everything's all start evening out a little bit more. But just to cut a long story short, it does look like this area is going to be tested again at some point soon, even though I am playing along at the moment, just you know, because I feel like this is a safe area, because I know how important this moving average is. So to come back down to test it, I bought simply on the moving average itself, and I'm hoping to ride it out at least to the centre of the Bollinger Band, but possibly close it around 250, 8,250 that'll be. But it could have continuation all the way back up to around 8,600. But the continuation on the weekly is going to be down, and we do have this death crossing coming with the green 50 exponential and the 200 white exponential, which is a valid death cross, which is also going to be extremely bearish. So that looks like it wants to play out over the next couple of weeks if we hang around in this area. So still, looking at that $6,600 chance of a rebound is quite likely. That, you know, that's just short of $1,500 move down from where we are right now. So realistically, my long-term target for Bitcoin is going to short this, probably short it when it reaches the top of this Bollinger Band, if I'm lucky to catch it at that high, so around 8,600, and see if it's possible to ride that all the way down. I think there probably will be some more bounces up and down in this area, fake outs especially, but I don't think we're going to be seeing 9,000 before we go in. I think we're going to be seeing 7,000 or lower before we see, let's just say, 9,200. Anyway, I'll leave that one with you there. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.